Good morning. Good morning. Hey, I wanted to send out a video today because I've had several of the same questions and comments posed over the last few days. We've had a lot of incredible success stories, but by the same token, we also have some folks that are struggling with plateauing. And you know, plateauing is very common. It's not unusual, and it's something we just handle. Many times we are very frustrated by plateauing because it's a day-to-day look. You know, when you're recording your weight day to day, it can be very frustrating because you're looking for these big jumps. Remember, we live in this instant gratification microwave society. We want to see a pound a day. And even though the marketing that we use here at the office says up to a pound a day, the reality is for most women, you will lose anywhere from a quarter to a half a pound per day. And it will fluctuate. Remember me telling you on your initial visit, weight loss using the metabolic model, nutritional model, is very sawtooth. So you'll have peaks and valleys and plateaus and valleys and peaks, and it'll go like that continually. So you want to look at your starting point, just like I do, the beginning of the month, the end of the month, and get your net loss. As you gain weight and you lose weight, that's a sign that the body's going through cycles. They could be cleansing cycles. Cleansing cycles are when the body is purging toxins from the cells of your intestines, of your fat, of your liver, even the gallbladder especially. When you start to reduce and starve the body of these refined carbohydrates and simple sugars, your gallbladder is naturally going to start purging. One strategy we use here that's contained in the manual is black coffee, unsweetened or undoctored tea. They actually have a natural caffeine that causes the gallbladder to pulse. And when the gallbladder pulses like that from contraction, it will actually purge some of the sludge that builds up in the gallbladder from some of these damaged fats that we consumed. That's like fried food, soybean oil, canola oil, Crisco. Those are very cheap commercial produced fats and oils that just are not healthy for us. They've been so tainted with processing that they won't become rancid even. So you really want to consume fats that are all natural and that actually have the tendency or possibility to become rancid. Those being butter, olives, olive oil, coconut oil, grapeseed oil, all the natural oils and fats, they have a potential of becoming rancid, so they're healthier for you. So anything that has a short shelf life is actually healthier for you. Anything that has a longer shelf life has been processed and refined and is not going to be healthy for you. So let's go back to what I was originally speaking about, and that's plateauing. One thing you want to keep in mind is to vary your food choices. Bring in variety. Bring in variety with all of your proteins. Don't just hang out with chicken and green beans. Hang out with poultry a couple days a week, but also bring in red meat, game if you can. Venison's very popular in this area, but if you can get bison or other type of game, that's important. Then throw in some fresh fish and nuts. So you want to vary your protein. Why am I saying protein first? Because protos in Greek means first. We need to have a high amount of protein in our diet on a daily basis. So we don't want to skip any of the categories of our food choices. You want to have those proteins be varied in each of your meals, your breakfast, lunch, and supper. And you don't want to skip meals. Even if you eat just half of the portion that's allowed there. If you say, well, you know, I really just don't get hungry at breakfast, or I'm not hungry at supper time by the end of the day. Have something to keep your metabolism on the rise. Because if you miss a meal, you cause your metabolism to drop off. If you cause your metabolism to drop off, then your body's furnace, your body's calorie burner comes to a screeching halt. You don't want that. You want to keep your body's metabolism on the rise. So you want to eat periodically throughout the day. That's why we put in place the breakfast, the midday snack, the between lunch and supper. You want to keep your calories consistently coming in. It doesn't have to be a huge quantity, but you just want to keep calories coming in to keep that metabolism going, okay? And one of the things I hear from patients is they tend to lean toward the convenience foods. What are those? Fruit. Fruit's so easy, but the danger with fruit toward the end of the day is it's a carbohydrate nonetheless, and even though we have on the plan low glycemic carbohydrate fruits, it still contains fructose that you have a tendency to store, and you could store as fat if you eat late in the day. So make sure you only consume your fruit earlier parts of the day. So don't eat fruit late at night. You know, if you eat supper at the 5 o'clock range and you have some fruit, that's not the end of the world. But make sure you have fruit breakfast time, lunch time, and get your protein, your vegetable, and your fat in every meal. Protein, vegetable, fat, every meal. And vary it up. Change it up. Don't just stick with your favorites. That's why that list is so broad. Go through and have variety, because you want to keep your body guessing. If you give your body the same thing day in, day out for the same meals, just because they're your favorites, you're going to put your metabolism to sleep. You have to have variety. You have to mix it up. You have to put some thought into your prepping. No good thing ever goes without effort, and no good effort is ever wasted. So by doing this, you're setting yourself up for sustainability. So many times patients will say to me, Dr. Drewes, when can I go back to eating regular food? Well, what is regular food? Or when can I go back to eating normal food again? Well, what is normal food? Are you talking about processed commercial food that has shelf life and out of a box, a cellophane bag, a can? That's what got you in this place to begin with. You want to eat food as close to how God made it as possible. Because a lot of times patients will say, you know, can I eat this or this, or what can I have? What if I go to this store, what can I buy? Look at, here's the general thing that I run across all the time. People get confused because there's so many options available. Just because it's available doesn't mean it's good for us, right? So here's the golden rule. Eat food as close to how God made it as possible. Does that mean you can never venture out into processed? No. It means, most condiments, most people aren't making condiments at home from scratch. They're purchasing them. So you can go to some of these paleo recipes or health food stores and buy condiments that don't have, like salad dressing, they don't have sugar in them. You can find it. Be careful when it says sugar-free. Tanya just ran into this. And it says sugar-free. Those companies are marketing toward diabetics. Typically type 2 diabetics. They want to steer them away from sugar, but what are they putting in the place of sugar? Right, artificial sweeteners. Sucralose, which is Splenda. Aspartame, which is NutraSweet. Sodium saccharin, that's the pink packets. Very dangerous chemicals. Actually, they're more harmful to your body to metabolize and to handle than is regular table sugar. Yeah, I said that. So keep that in mind. If it says sugar-free on the label, don't even pick it up off the shelf. It's going to be a dangerous product, no doubt. And they really are treacherous, unscrupulous scoundrels in the food industry. They are. Something like Heinz, which is a name brand known by many, it's owned by ConAgra. ConAgra is owned by a pharmaceutical company. Get this, all the seed companies in our country right now, they're owned by pharmaceutical companies. They're the wealthiest industries in our nation, by the way, right behind insurance companies. Insurance companies and pharmaceuticals are neck and neck. So, you know, let that spin for a while. The danger here is deviating away from the plan, not putting enough variety in, and stress. There's a lot. If you notice, when you come for your follow-up visits, I routinely will ask you about your sleep pattern. Is it broken? Your bowels, your bowel function, your bowel consistency, your water intake, the basics. And I've not even touched what food you've been eating yet. I've not even touched it. What are your numbers from day to day? You got to remember, most people out there that start these plans are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. I have a few in their 80s. But most people are in that 40 to 70 range. So they've been out there for decades accumulating toxins in our bodies. Our body has to go through a period, many times it's a minimum of 90 days, to detox, to lower and flush out and purge the toxins that we've accumulated in our bodies. And until that happens, you're going to be on that major roller coaster sawtooth graph of weight loss, gain, plateau, gain, loss, plateau. That you're going to see that consistently. Don't let it drive you crazy and torture yourself, okay? Just follow the plan, stick to the plan, get your rest. It's not selfish. Let yourself off the hook. Give yourself permission to do this plan for yourself. It's not selfish at all. One iota of this is not selfish. You have to do this for yourself to set a new course, a better course for health as you get older. Because as we age, our changes occur much more slowly. So keep that in mind. You're not going to lose a pound a day if you're in your you're not going to lose a pound a day every day if you're in your 50s or 60s. I can guarantee you that almost. There's very few people that have done that. Some have done that, but there's very few because the toxic load is so great. You know, a lot of people working in industries and in factories which have hidden chemicals. They've got heavy metals. They've got exposures that their employees experience every day that are being internalized and absorbed by your system. Whether it's through the skin or breathing, and then in addition to that, of course, what we mentioned on the video, you're drinking and you're eating chemicals in your food and in your water supply. It's there. All of us are in the same boat together, but we have to be mindful of cleaning ourselves up, and it's more of a gradual process. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. We want this done yesterday because that's what our culture has trained us to view these programs, but it's not going to happen that way. But it will happen for you in the time frame that we've laid out if you follow the plan and don't deviate from it. Because social pressure that's another one. I had several visits yesterday with patients about social pressure, and you know, you just have to decide for yourself during this time frame, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I'm going to do this for myself. It's okay if I don't have hot dogs and apple pie this summer at Memorial Day and the 4th of July and at family reunions and picnics. Do this for yourself. Those foods that are heavily laden with chemicals, they're not your future. They can be your future if you want to have mediocrity and you want to be faced with a lot of health challenges. But if you truly want to have the best possible health picture, best possible quality of life, make those right choices. Recruit your family and friends and say, "Hey, look, I need your help. I don't need any more stumbling blocks than I already have. Please support me. Please encourage me. Please don't undermine this process I'm in, because I'm doing this to have better strength, better overall health and wellness." And most people are going to be on board with that. Sure, are there going to be some people who are just, by nature cruel? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to look very far to see that, but most people by and large are going to be there to support you and encourage you. And I casually, I quiz people that come in for consultations all the time. I'll say, who's at home with you, number one. They tell me. And I'll say, are they going to be support for you, or are they going to be a hindrance or an obstacle to you? And then they tell me that. And most people are going to say, no, my husband or my wife, they may not do the plan with me, but they're not going to certainly block me, or they're not going to make it tougher for me. So just know that in advance. Most people want to be a help. Most people want to be an assistance. Not everybody's going to want to be an accountability partner, and that's fine. But you can use us for that. We're here to support you. We are in your corner. Stay in contact with us, and try not to torture yourself with the day-to-day ups and downs. Look at the start point for each month or each cycle, and then the finish point. And then I've never had one person who has not lost weight. Some people gain it back from poor choices, but I've not had one person who has not lost weight to date on this plan. There's always something that needs to be tweaked, one element that needs to be tweaked, that is the reason behind someone not losing weight on this plan. So even though you may have ups and downs or plateaus, just hang in there and stay with it. Remember, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon where you're going to take your body through a season of purging, cleansing, and then burning. You have to cleanse the body, purge it of those toxins, and then start to burn the fat once the body's at the place where it can do that. I hope that makes sense. If you need further clarity, I am willing and glad to do it. We're here to serve you as best possible. We want to live our examples in front of you, and we're going to keep the information coming, keep the encouragement coming. This plan works. Just stick to it and stay in touch with us when you have bowel lockdown and when you have plateaus, so we can help you through that and encourage you through that, okay? Have a better day, and we'll talk to you soon.